Welcome back. We still have the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, here in the studio. Mr. Adeosun, let's go back to the issue of taxes. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, as at July this year, said they had generated about 2.11 trillion naira. Yeah. Now, there are those who are, okay, that's good news. If the FIRS alone has 2.11 trillion naira, that tells us that we're going somewhere. Yeah. Now, over time, the FIRS has had to sometimes declare figures as almost double the budget of the nation.
Yes.
And then Nigerians ask the question, so if they are able to generate that amount of money, where does it go to?
Okay. So firstly, it's not a huge amount of money. It sounds very large, and the way you're saying it sounds large to me and you.
It's a declaration on what people hear out there.
In the context of how much Nigeria spends, it's nothing. In fact, it's woeful because as I say, we're taxed to GDP of 6%, so it's nothing to celebrate. But let me explain very carefully about FIRS. Now, FIRS collects taxes, both company tax and VAT. That is the money every month that is shared in the FAC account. So that money that they have generated is being shared between the three tiers of government: federal government, state government, and local government.
But the money also shared includes the oil revenue as
Absolutely.
well. Okay.
So if you say for example, take FAC of this month was 550 billion. So that included FIRS's money, included customs money, included oil. Those are the three constituents. So it's almost like double counting when you look at FIRS on its own, because people just assume, oh, that money is going to the federal government. No, it's shared among the three tiers of government. And of course, the states and the local governments get a share of it. So when you now spread it out over federal government plus 36 states, it's not that much.
All right, so we're winding up now. Tell us, what are the timelines there for the federal government in terms of revenue, expenditure? I mean, 2017 is almost out.
Yeah.
There are speculations that the 2018 budget will be presented this week. Well, you also confirm. What timelines are there?
Well, I mean, you would need probably to speak more to the Minister of Budget and Planning around his plans to present it, but he's been very clear about what he wants to do. From my end, the strategy is to get out and raise the money that we need to raise, make sure that the projects that we've started begin to, we want to start commissioning projects now. So we've been saying to them, let's get projects finished. There's been a lot of work in progress. Nigerians are getting very impatient. They want to see things. So for me, the timelines are about finishing projects, getting power on stream. There's, so many megawatts here. We just released some money. So the way we're releasing money is very targeted and strategic now. Someone comes and says, look, there's 10 megawatts of power that needs to come on board. This is how much we need.
Can you say specifically where the monies have gone to and when those projects are likely to?
Right. So the person you need on this seat, and I'll give you his phone number, is, well, two, Minister of Transport, Minister of Power Works and Housing, Ministry of Defence. Those are the big three that take up a lot of our funds, and you need to ask them now about when a lot of these.
But you release the funds, and you said they're specific to specific projects.
Absolutely.
They come to you to say, we need this for this newspaper, we need this for this spend.
Yeah.
So at least you know which project those are. So can you speak to those projects and let us know what timelines they gave you?
I wish, as well as collecting taxes and coming to see you, I had time to go and be doing road inspection. I'd be very happy. But I know, but this, in all seriousness, I think we have a lot of projects that are very nearing completion based on the releases. Remember, the Ministry of Budget and Planning actually do the monitoring. So our job is at the Treasury is to release funds specific to those projects, and the Ministry of Budget and Planning do independent monitoring. But I think if I give you his number and you get the Minister of Power Works, and he should be able to tell you when and where a lot of these projects are. But I assure you there's a huge amount of work going on.
I'm sure we'll be able to get him to come talk about that. Finally, Mrs. Adeosun, the IMF is also concerned about Nigeria's borrowing. And they've also given a warning about utilizing those funds effectively.
No, IMF did not say that. What IMF have said is that our debt service to revenue ratio is very high, which is correct. But remember, this was the same IMF that wanted us to go into a program. So, let's be a little bit circumspect about some of these multilateral agencies. We work with the IMF. They do a lot of work for us on technical assistance. But we had always said that Nigeria was going to take responsibility for its own recovery. Nigeria was going to take responsibility for its own economic policies. Yes, we listen to the IMF very closely because they're the world's economic watchdog. But we're very clear on what we're doing. Their concern is a concern which we have admitted around debt service to revenue ratio, and I've explained that we're increasing our revenues very aggressively and we're refinancing our debt portfolio to reduce our cost of borrowing.
Yeah, just something just occurred to me.
Yes.
Have we been able to reconcile the TSA issues? Some companies or some agencies of government and ministries not remitting to the TSA and all of that. And then what's the balance in the TSA?
Well, the balance keeps moving. It's the bank account, so I can't give you the balance every day. But yes, I mean, the TSA issues, all the agencies, as far as I know, are on it. Where there's some work going on is that we have had information that some banks renamed accounts just before TSA. So in other words, some banks are still sitting on our funds. We've written to the bank MDs to say, look, if you suspect that some funds may belong to the federal government, check with the Office of the Accountant General. We gave them a window. Some returned some money, but so now we're going out to do some verification work because we suspect that some of our money is still out there, but the compliance is pretty good.
Just this tweet from Olalekan Hakim. It says, Nigerians perceive external borrowing has no meaningful impact to growth and development. How do you react to that?
No, that's not correct. We don't have enough money in our capital markets to fund everything that we need. External borrowing provides a very good source for us in the long term. And remember, a lot of the external borrowing we do is concessional. A lot of the money from the World Bank is at 1%. Some of the China Exim money is at 1.5%. So you can't always, just look inwards, especially when you have the kind of growth ambitions that we have. We have huge ambitions around big infrastructure projects. We don't have a deep enough, long enough and cheap enough market to finance some of those projects. So it will have impact. I mean, when you get the railway going, when you get some of these road and power projects switched on, it will have a huge impact on the daily lives of Nigerians.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, Nigeria's Finance Minister. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Sunrise Daily will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.